After the tragedy of Typhoon Yolanda, Tacloban's resilient people are determined to rise from the rubble and build back a city that is more vibrant than ever. So 1 month after Yolanda, with the invaluable assistance of UN Habitat and experts from a wide range of disciplines, the city began crafting a master plan for recovery and rehabilitation, a roadmap to ensure that all steps taken during the emergency and recovery phases will also be building blocks for long-term development. After 2 months of intensive work, a draft of the master plan was presented to the people of Tacloban City in a public forum attended by over 1,000 people. Various members of the academe, the business sector, and the workforce were given time to air their questions and ideas. The master plan seeks to address 6 key result areas: shelter, social services, infrastructure, economic revitalization, environmental sustainability, and disaster risk management. Yolanda damaged over 54,000 homes. More than 60% of these were completely destroyed. 1/3 of those completely destroyed were of the urban poor. Over 950 households were forced to live in tents throughout the city. The most urgent need was to provide housing assistance to 14,500 families from areas submerged in storm surges over 4 meters high. The long-term solution is to build new permanent homes in communities on higher ground. 18 months after Yolanda, however, only 123 permanent homes have been completed and occupied. 106 were built by GMA Kapuso Foundation and 17 by the National Housing Authority. Because the construction of permanent houses are taking a long time, it became necessary to build temporary houses that take only 10 days to build, but can last up to 10 years. Designed to be climate resilient, these shelters had in fact withstood Typhoon Ruby's high winds, which battered Tacloban for about 24 hours. The Tacloban City government, along with several partners, have collectively built 778 units of temporary shelters. And city government employees celebrated the first Independence Day after Yolanda by helping build these temporary shelters. The target is a total of 2,200 units by the end of 2015. One of the strategies to build back better is to build not just a relocation site, but a brand new township in Tacloban North, complete with schools, health facilities, public safety services, and even a satellite office of the City Hall. Tacloban North is now being master planned to become a highly desirable place to live and do business. It has the advantage of higher altitude, lower risks for inundation, plus prime locations with breathtaking views of San Juanico Strait and the mountains. The University of the Philippines Tacloban campus is moving to the north and should help boost demand for goods and services in the area. Road reblocking has commenced, jump-starting the development of the transport system to link downtown to the north. So the future for Tacloban North is looking bright. Meanwhile, the city continues to coordinate with various donors to rebuild educational and health facilities throughout the city. Pacific Partnership, which consisted of military delegations from the US, Australia, and Japan, helped us rebuild schools and bring health services to the people. The Barangayan, a weekly activity monitoring the delivery of social services, which was instituted even before Yolanda, has now been restored. Prior to Yolanda, Tacloban City was the regional center for business, industry, education, culture, and governance in the 6 provinces of Region 8. The city government recognized that to reclaim its role as the hub of Eastern Visayas, local businesses needed to get back on their feet the soonest possible. To help them, the city government allowed generous deferment options for real property taxes, business permit fees, and other local duties. All 54 banks, including a branch of the Bangko Sentral, have already reopened. Robinsons and 2 Gaisano malls have also reopened. In addition, SM has opened a new Save More outlet. Downtown Tacloban is as busy as ever, so one-way street systems had to be implemented to alleviate traffic congestion. In the city's rural outskirts, the Canadian, Australian, and Polish governments are directly involved in livelihood projects. USAID is also currently funding fisheries and farming projects to help improve Tacloban's food security. The Salvation Army is building a brand new livelihood training center, and a Korean technology firm is constructing a new energy-to-waste facility. In spite of the challenges brought about by Yolanda, the city has managed to maintain the seal of good housekeeping the Department of Local and Interior Government's recognition of excellence in financial accountability. This, plus increasing economic activity throughout the city, continues to rebuild investor confidence in Tacloban. Tacloban aspires to become the country's most disaster-resilient city and has held intensive workshops to update the city's disaster preparedness plan and to institutionalize the learnings from the Yolanda experience. Typhoon Ruby was an opportunity for Tacloban to apply those lessons. A few days before its expected landfall, Mayor Romualdez issued an executive order to suspend schools and offices, preempting the usual storm signals given by Pagasa. This gave the citizens of Tacloban ample time to stock up on supplies. City Hall and other public facilities were boarded up. Carefully planned and orderly evacuation of vulnerable communities began early. So after 24 hours of being pounded by Typhoon Ruby's winds, Tacloban emerged with 0 casualty. Tacloban is also sharing these lessons in various venues abroad, out of a desire to give back to the world that came to aid at such a desperate time. Mayor Romualdez has been speaking on his disaster risk reduction and management advocacy, notably in Singapore, the United States, the UN Climate Summit, the World Bank's Reconstruction Conference, in conversations with leaders of cities affected by the Great East Japan Earthquake and Tsunami, New York City, and Israel, in an audience that included Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The construction of a training facility for disaster preparedness, funded by the UNDP, is underway. Studies are also being conducted to site a new radio communications tower on high ground. And finally, the city is also building a volunteer force of first responders that will also serve to advocate disaster preparedness in their homes and workplaces. The ultimate goal is a culture of preparedness, down to every man, woman, and child. Tacloban City recognizes the overwhelming outpouring of kindness, both from our Filipino brothers and sisters and numerous friends from overseas, heads of states, dignitaries, humanitarian organizations, journalists, and private groups and individuals. Typhoon Yolanda brought about one of the most massive humanitarian crises this country has ever faced. But it showed us that the world can come together in dynamic collaboration to see a devastated city rise from the ashes, build back better, and emerge as no less than a global model for disaster resilience. For the children, the future of Tacloban City.